So today I'm making a brisket and chorizo golden chili. The reason it's golden is because a lot of my tomatoes from my garden here are a nice, fresh, bright yellow. They're called maiden golds. I'm going to take these tomatoes, along with my red tomatoes, I sliced them up, drizzled them with a little bit of vegetable oil, sprinkled them with Mexican oregano, and put a little garlic and onion on top of them. I'm going to roast these in my oven. I have a convection oven. I'm going to do 400 degrees for about 30 minutes until they're nice and roasted and bring that good tomato flavor out of them. I also have half a pound of chopped brisket that I cooked over the weekend. I have half a pound of chorizo that I have homemade and pulled out of my freezer. I have some uh, candied jalapenos that I've got some of the liquid off to the side, a few tablespoons, and then I've got the few tablespoons of the jalapenos diced up. I have a guajillo chili, split seeded and soaking in hot water for about 30 minutes. And I have a seasoning mix of chipotle powder, brown sugar, smoked paprika, cumin, coriander, and um, some achiote paste. Here's the tomatoes after they're all roasted. The next step is I've got my tomatoes and my uh, guajillo and my syrup from my candied jalapenos, everything from that tray, just dumped in there, the onion, the garlic, the oregano, the tomato, into 1 cup of vegetable stock, and I'm just going to puree it until it's nice and smooth, and this is going to be my liquid base for my chili. I got a couple tablespoons of oil in the bottom of my pot here. I have some diced red bell pepper and some diced red onion. I'm going to start sauteing these up along with the chopped up candied jalapenos in the bottom of my pan. Everything I'm making today, it's stuff I had in the house. These red peppers were left over. My wife prepared salads for us for the week. I just tried to make everything with stuff I had, and since we had the brisket left over, it all kind of worked out. So I'm going to saute these until they're cooked down a little bit, and then I'm going to add my crumbled chorizo to it. The chorizo is going to be raw. I got my chopped brisket up there, half pound of chopped cooked brisket. It was a really good brisket this weekend. My vegetables are softened quite a bit, so I'll just add the crumbled chorizo into the pan and cook this until it's nice and browned. The chorizo is browned. I'm going to put in the chopped brisket. So I've got 1 pound of meat in here. My bigger batches, I do 2 pounds of meat for my regular batch, so I've got about twice the amount of seasoning mix I need that I made up before. And that's going to be next. I'm going to put about half the seasoning mix in here and let that brown just for a few seconds. So after I just kind of mix this in, let it brown, I'm going to add my liquid mixture that I made before with the pureed tomatoes, the guajillo, the vegetable stock, and the jalapeno syrup. And there's the beautiful mixture. Put the lid on and let it simmer for about 15 minutes, kind of at low temperature. Now I'm going to prepare my masa flour. I do this just by how it feels. So I put some masa flour into the bowl, add a little water to it, and I add it until it kind of, it's not too dry, crumbling, but it's not too wet, so it's liquid. It's kind of like a nice paste. So now I'm going to add a can of beans, and I know that's controversial, and I don't care. I love beans in my chili, and I'll call it chili, and I don't care what anybody says. So this is a 3 bean mixture. It's pinto beans, red kidney beans, and black beans. I'm going to add it with the liquid in the can still in there, and then let that simmer for a little bit. After that simmered and it's got back up to temperature, warmed up, I'm going to thicken with the masa paste that I made. Sometimes I'll thin out my chili, and that's one of the reasons I left the liquid in from the beans, just because I want to add the masa paste as a thickener, because I really like the flavor of the corn, and it really kind of gives a nice texture to the chili and that wonderful corn flavor. So we'll put the lid back on here and let it simmer for another 15 minutes, and we're ready to go. This chili has a wonderful flavor. It's sweet from the candied jalapenos. There's some heat in there. Smokiness of the brisket. It's just fantastic.